If for some reason you think you can survive a horror movie, think again. No matter how smart you think you are, how fast you are, or how prepared you are, your personal doom is imminent. From unstoppable killers to nightmare demons, let's dive into some horror movies where survival isn't just unlikely, it's downright impossible. 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later premises around a viral outbreak that turns people into rage-fueled monsters, aka zombies. Now, the way the rage-filled virus is just messed up in and of itself. It has to do with a group of scientists who not only were doing studies on monkeys, but also showing them rage-filled videos, which created this rage-filled virus, which most people having to do with zombies just think of, oh, it's a zombie outbreak, it's a zombie virus. The zombies in 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, and now 28 Years Later are completely different. They are not only hunting for blood, they are completely enraged. And once you're infected, you turn almost immediately, meaning you have zero prep time from the time you're bit or the time you have saliva on you to the time you're infected. And of course, with a zombie outbreak, you not only have to worry about you, the people you're with, and the zombies, but you have to worry about other people who are doing the same exact thing, who will not only kill the zombies without thinking, but also you. You gotta think a post-apocalyptic world full of zombies, and no one really even knows what's going on. At least nowadays, if a zombie outbreak were to happen, we would kind of know what to do. We're not just going to shoot them in the body. We know to aim for the head. But 95% of the time, people in these movies have absolutely no idea what's going on. Especially our main character in 28 Days Later, Jim, who woke up from the hospital and had no idea what was going on. A Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street premises around teenagers who are haunted in their dreams by Freddy Krueger, who's a deceased child murderer who kills them in their sleep. Now, when Freddy Krueger was alive, he was an absolute demon. He was killing kids left and right until the parents finally found out, hey, I think I know who that guy is. They then burnt him alive inside of his factory where he used to take his victims, and then he was able to make a deal with more or less the devil to spin back and now kill people in their dreams. So now imagine this. You cannot go to sleep. If you do, you're more or less going to die, and you have no idea how to stop Freddy Krueger. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say in the comment section, well, Chris, we already know what to do. We've seen the movies. We get it. You have to take the perspective of you have no idea what is going on. You have no idea why you're dreaming of a man with a burnt face and burnt body with knives for hands, wearing a Christmas sweater. You have no idea why you're dreaming that. Obviously, later on, we find out that we can bring Freddy into the real world and everything like that. But when you're in the movie setting and this is what you're doing, you have no idea. So prep time doesn't matter. And 95% of you are saying that you're built different and you're going to be able to bring Freddy into the real world and beat him. Yeah, it's just not going to happen like that. So I would say surviving Freddy Krueger is one of those things where, yes, you could take caffeine pills. You can try and stay up and figure out what he is. 9 times out of 10, it isn't going to matter. You then have the Blair Witch Project, which premises around 3 filmmakers who become lost in the woods while trying to investigate a local legend. The antagonist in this movie is a witch in the middle of the woods. I don't care how tough you think you are. We are talking a witch in the middle of the woods. You and 2 of your friends have no idea what is going on. On top of that, it seems like in the movie, the forest prevents you from escaping, almost making it seem like you're going in a massive circle. You also have to think about the fact that the witch is so powerful that she's not only currently distorting time, but space and your sanity. So that kind of piggybacks on what I said before. If you're going around in a circle, you're in the woods, you have no idea what's going on, you start losing your mind. You're not actually going in a circle. The witch is just that powerful. And throughout the movie, she's just psychologically tormenting you. That more or less leads to self-destruction before she, of course, strikes. Now, me personally, getting trapped in the woods is definitely a massive fear of mine. It's between that and being lost in the middle of the ocean. Imagine being in the middle of the woods. It's dark outside. It's you and your 2 friends. Yes, you have flashlights, but you're hearing stuff all around you. You then go left, and somehow you end up going right. I'm good off of all of that. Hellraiser. Movie premises around a man who's trying to solve a mysterious puzzle box, not knowing that he's currently summoning the sadistic Cenobites from another dimension. Now, you not only have to worry about Pinhead, but you now have to worry about his gang that pulls up with him, which we've seen in the newest installation of Hellraiser, which, to be fair, was not my favorite, but those characters are pretty terrifying. And once the box is open, you're at the mercy of the Cenobites, who absolutely delight in internal torment. More or less what I'm telling you is once that box is open, once that cube is open, once you solve that Rubik's Cube, you're at the mercy of creatures from another dimension who love killing people. And not just killing them, but killing them in the slowest fashion possible. Because in their realm, they pleasure to madness. Even if you escape the Cenobites, it will continue to pursue you and anyone close to you. Meaning that even if you can get away and escape, it doesn't matter. They're going to spin the block and get you again. The other thing is Pinhead himself is one of the strongest horror movie characters ever created because of the fact that he really doesn't have to do much. Once that box is open and those harpoons come out of nowhere, there's really nothing you can do. If he were to get any horror movie character locked inside of those little harpoons, they're not surviving. So what really makes you different? Alien. The movie premises around a space crew who is haunted by a nearly perfect predator aboard their ship. Now we're talking about a xenomorph. The thing with the thing with the thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. The character is not only extremely fast, fast, extremely strong, and smarter than humans, but you are locked in a spaceship floating through outer space, and that is on your ship. Another key component is the fact that their blood is hazardous. It is like acid. They can not only spit the acid and bleed the acid, but if you were to like blow them up or something, that acid is going everywhere, which means that it's not only getting on you, but it's getting on everyone else, and it's more likely going to melt the spaceship itself. You can't run, you can't hide, you can't escape the spaceship. So in my personal humble opinion, you're absolutely cooked. Scream. Scream premises around a mass killer who stalks teenagers in a small town, making the horror movie references while committing murders. Now the problem is that Ghostface himself is extremely unpredictable. You also never know how many Ghostface you're gonna encounter. It almost seems like every Scream movie we've ever seen, there's more than one Ghostface. The other problem is you can't trust anyone. You cannot trust your friends, you can't trust your girlfriend, you can't trust your boy, you can't trust your parents, you cannot trust anyone. Because who's ever actually Ghostface is playing a twisted game. And what we see at the end of the original Scream movie is that it's not only Sydney's boyfriend, but it's also one of her best friends, who killed everyone else in the group. So that just goes to show that you cannot trust absolutely anyone if you are dropped inside of the Scream verse. Now look, a lot of people are gonna say, Chris, well, haven't you said before that you would just drive away if somebody was the killer? Here's the problem. In the later Scream movies, we've seen the killers go to absolute insane lengths to kill the people they want to kill. So even if you run, even if you hide, even if you get on a plane, it almost seems like Ghostface is going to follow you to the ends of the earth and make sure they do what they want to do. The Mist. The movie premises around a mysterious mist that envelops a town, bringing with it deadly creatures from another dimension. I think the other key terrifying part about this movie is the fact that most of the movie is shot inside of a grocery store, with obviously a bunch of people who have no idea what is going on. It almost seems like when you go outside in the mist, creature from another dimension, kind of like something from Godzilla, ends up killing you. On top of having to worry about the multi-dimensional beings, you also have to worry about your human psychology and how all of these survivors are being slowly broken down by not being able to go outside. If you leave the shelter, you're dead. If you stay inside, it leads to complete paranoia and having to worry about the rest of the group thinking that, hey, if we make a run for it, we can live, which we see in the movie that is not true. And the fact that it seems like the range of this creature that kind of gives off a spider vibe is the same size as Godzilla. Now look, I know a lot of you are going to go in the comments and say, Chris, well, technically someone did survive the mist, but did he really survive? Him and his family ran to their car. They're then sitting inside of their car where he unalives all of them, seemingly to save them, as the military is pulling up and the mist is starting to go away. So technically, yes, in a way he did survive. His body survived, but I'm telling you right now, his soul 100% did not survive that movie. And for 99% of us, we're staying inside of that store. We're filling up on snacks and drinks and just chilling and waiting it out. Because personally, that's what I would be doing, regardless if the military ended up showing up at the end or not. Us. The movie premises around a family who's being haunted by their doppelgangers as part of a large uprising. Now, the antagonists in this movie, aka their doppelgangers, are known as the Tethered, who are a complete one-to-one clone. I think the scariest part of the Tethered is the fact that it is a one-to-one copy. But on top of that, they're way more ruthless and 10 times more brutal. They will go to lengths of doing things that the non-doppelgangers, the actual humans would never. But you can't tell the difference. Now, the uprising is completely nationwide, meaning no one has the option of escaping. If you come face to face with your own doppelganger, 9 times out of 10, it is going to kill you. It's a complete psychological mindfuck, with you having to face yourself, but the odds on that person are almost doubled. Now, here's the thing. If you've never seen us skip this segment, because I'm about to talk about the ending. I feel like the ending has been explained, but no one truly knows the actual ending of the movie. As we know, our main character, played by Lupita Nyong'o, has her own clone. Her clone is way more powerful, but almost seems to have adapted to that normal human speech. Now, towards the end, it seems like the whole entire family has survived as they're driving away, but they end up doing something that was a little bit strange. Her character almost seems to not know the things that the original character knew at the beginning of the movie. The smile that she makes towards her kids is also extremely creepy, almost making it seem like her normal self was trapped back where they left, and the doppelganger is now playing a part of her life. So if somebody could go in the comment section below and tell me what their theory is based on it, because in my personal opinion, she never got out. The doppelganger is her character who ends the movie. I think that her actual character is still trapped underneath. I don't think she ever made it out. I think the doppelganger is now taking over her life and playing that motherly role, which is why she looked at her kids the way she did. Because of course the doppelganger technically has kids, but not a human relationship like the other one. I don't know, I could be crazy. The Shining. The Shining premises are on a family who is being isolated in a haunted hotel, where a malevolent force drives the father to madness. Now, y'all know the Overlook Hotel is an actual place, right? And Jack Nicholson's character absolutely loses his mind. trying to kill his family, which means that this Overlook Hotel is haunted by an actual demon. Now, the hotel's supernatural force amplifies paranoia and violence, which makes sense because of how we see Jack act in the movie. You're also in a massive remote location with insane winter conditions. They're having an absolute blizzard out there, which means running anywhere is almost impossible because you're going to get frostbite or just die in the snow. The spirits inside of the Overlook Hotel are also extremely manipulative and untethered by physical rules, which is why we see Jack in the scene where he's using the axe and trying to break down the door to kill his wife and kid. Buddy has completely lost it. So for everyone saying they're gonna hop on a snowmobile and dip or drive their car down or hide somewhere, you are not hiding from that demon inside of the Overlook Hotel. It's not only not a viable option, it's just not gonna work. It seems like once that malevolent spirit has its hold on you, that's it, and everyone around you is done for. The Thing. The movie premises on a parasitic alien creature that infiltrates an Arctic research facility, taking the form of a living being. Now look, the Thing is a shapeshifter. It can turn into pretty much anything that it wants to. If I were to explain this movie in layman's terms, you would think Among Us. This creature can turn into anything and anyone, and you have to pretty much find out who the imposter is. Because of course it makes it impossible to identify who the human is and who isn't. You're also extremely isolated because you're based in Antarctica, in a research facility that completely prevents escaping, because it's extremely cold. And the paranoia of being trapped also leads to people fighting and mass amounts of chaos. And once you're infected by the Thing, and once it's shape-shifted into you, it's over for you. This creature not only mimics your appearance, but it mimics the way you talk. And the way it finds a new host is through direct body contact, either touching you or body fluids, often by creating a wound or an opening to inject its cellular material. Meaning if you got a little cut on your finger, 9 times out of 10 you're getting manipulated by this alien creature. And I'm telling you right now, you're not only trapped in Antarctica, but it's so cold you can't run, can't tell who is who because it could be an alien. And if it touches you, you're gonna become one too. The Ring. The Ring premises on someone who watches a cursed videotape that guarantees death within 7 days, unless the curse is passed on. Now look, you find a tape that says do not watch, but then you watch the tape. I do not feel bad for you. But the curse of this extremely vengeful spirit is impossible to break, meaning that even if you don't want to watch the tape, it almost forces your hand to put it inside of the DVD player. And the only way to beat this curse is by passing it on to someone, which of course causes a moral dilemma. And if you fail this act to spread the curse, you're going to die. So this one right here might be the questionable one on the list, because it all depends on personal morality. Are you going to pass it on to someone knowing that if they don't pass it on, it's going to kill them, but you get to live? Like I said, it depends on where your moral compass is. Personally, I'm not watching the tape one, but if I do, I am passing it on. I'm sorry. There's nothing you could tell me, nothing. Man, I want to live. Now I would try to pass it on to somebody. I'm not passing it on. I don't know. My moral compass is great, but I don't want to die. So you know what? I'm just not going to watch the tape. But if you find yourself watching the tape, what would you do? Comment that down below in the comment section. Are you passing it on, or are you just going to live with it and die? With the possibility of someone else in your house or someone else finding the tape and continuing the curse anyways. Silent Hill 2006. The movie premises around a mother searching for her daughter in a town surrounded by fog and haunted by ghoulish creatures. Now the creatures aren't just scary ghost premonitions. We're talking Pyramid Head, single-handedly one of the strongest antagonists we've ever seen in a horror film. You also have the nurse, who in my opinion is extremely creepy. Shorty ain't giving me no shots. And then you of course have other supernatural manifestations. And the reason Silent Hill is so scary is because it's not just a scary town surrounded in fog. It uses your own human psyche and past sins against you. Also, for the simple fact of any weapon you have, say you have a 12 gauge shotgun, it doesn't matter. Most weapons you bring inside of Silent Hill are deemed useless. And the kicker is the only way you survive the town and can escape is if the town allows you to. So you're not only barely being able to see because there's fog everywhere, but you have to deal with Pyramid Head, the nurse, and other terrible ghoulish manifestations. And even if you get to the end where the fog splits between the human realm and the Silent Hill realm, if the town doesn't want you to leave, you're not leaving. And finally, you have Midsummer. The movie premises around tourists who participate in a Swedish pagan festival that takes an extremely dark turn. Now look, we're now talking culty. We are now talking culty horror. In my opinion, is absolutely terrifying because some of these people are absolutely insane. And what happens to these tourists is not knowing that once they are there, there is no escape. People inside of the cult do not allow outsiders to escape. Of course, they do a ton of psychological manipulation, which is extremely overwhelming because they're trying to get people inside of this cult. And of course, the cult's rituals are meticulously planned and executed very well. Now look, I'm just saying, if I was on vacation and all of a sudden people are starting to do some rituals rituals and stuff, I'm not dying, so I'm participating. Regardless of it, if you participate or not, you are technically an outsider, meaning they're not going to allow you to leave regardless if you do what they tell you or not. So for me personally, it's an absolutely beautiful landscape. I'm taking my chances, taking some snacks, and I am running. And you guys know, I don't run anywhere. I'm taking my snacks and I'm gone. I'm gonna try to live on the land and get out of there as fast as possible, but it's a massive cult full of people who want to kill you, so 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna survive anyway. Terrifier 3. Movie premises around our main character, Sienna Shaw, who has survived previous encounters with the killer clown known as Art the Clown, and is now trying to rebuild her life during Christmas time, the most jolly time of the year. But Art the Clown's return and his new accomplice, as he possesses Victoria. With Art the Clown's untimely return and his new accomplice, Victoria, who was Art the Clown's first surviving victim, they now both team up to unleash chaos on the town of Miles County, turning the holiday season into a gruesome nightmare. Now, I'm telling you right now, there is no humanly possible way you are surviving Art the Clown, so don't even drop it in the comment section. We have seen him do things that are quite literally insane. And Victoria as well. The glass shard scene, have we all seen that? That was it. I had to rewatch that to be like, okay, that is actually what's going on. Because when I first sat down and watched the movie, yes, it shocked me. I was like, damn, this movie is crazy. But then I started seeing stuff online about the glass shard. Oh yeah, she did that. So you not only have to worry about Victoria, but you also have to worry about Art the Clown, the malevolent spirit inside of Art the Clown, and the fact that he is immortal. What are we talking about? We watched him kill a man dressed like Santa Claus using a fire extinguisher, freezing off different parts of him and then knocking them off. So I don't want to hear anything about you being able to survive Art the Clown. If you're dropped in Miles County, you better drive away. And yes, technically Terrifier 3 is a holiday movie because it's based around Christmas time. Now there isn't much joy and cheer in this movie, but it's definitely a certified Christmas classic. Black Christmas. Black Christmas centers around a quiet sorority house, of course taking place during the holiday season, where it unexpectedly takes a dark turn when a woman receives a disturbing phone call from an unknown stalker. And as the night unfolds, the killer's identity and intentions become more chilling. Now, Black Christmas is one of the first slasher movies we have ever seen, and more or less paved the way for a lot of these other horror movie icons to make their break. Now, when I think about it, it kind of sounds like the plot to Scream. The phone rings, who is it? Ghostface. What's your favorite scary movie? It sounds like a one-on-one replica, but obviously Black Christmas takes place during Christmas time, but it still sounds similar. Now, one thing these girls in the sorority have no idea about is the fact that the killer is actually already inside of the house. Bro doesn't have to go anywhere to pick off any victims. He's currently hiding in the attic, making these phone calls, and no one knows he's there. He's then slowly leaving them phone calls, taunting them, and then picking them off one by one. And I'm gonna be honest, if there's a killer inside of your attic leaving you mysterious phone calls and picking off every one of your family members one by one, there's already nothing you can do. You don't know where bro is. And with him being inside of the house, it makes their escape nearly impossible. The sorority sisters in this movie not only feel extremely isolated because they have no idea how they're being picked off while inside of the house, yet never seeing the killer. And as the movie goes on, they slowly start losing hope, which is a number one thing you cannot do inside of a horror movie. You cannot lose hope. So for everyone who's about to leave a comment and say, dude, I would completely survive if somebody was living, no, you wouldn't. You would have no idea. You'd be going to bed, resting your little head, and all of a sudden, you'd be dead. Krampus. The movie premises around a dysfunctional family during the holidays, where they end up attracting attention they don't want from a dark entity known as Krampus, a dark counterpart to Santa Claus. When the power goes out during a blizzard and traps them all together, they now have to try and band together to survive the demon's wrath and his horrifying helpers, including a killer gingerbread man and sinister elves. Now, Krampus is the definition of F around and find out. Now, this could have been completely avoided if the kid didn't rip up his little note to Santa Claus and throw it out the window. Then stuff got crazy. He lost his faith in Santa Claus. He thought Christmas was over, which is exactly when Krampus strikes. Once despair and mischief around the holidays happen, Krampus gets the call. Now, the other thing is Krampus isn't the only one you have to worry about. You have to A, worry about the killer gingerbread man, the elves, and the Pop Goes the Weasel character. That clown is scary as hell. Now, Krampus is based on Central European folklore. Krampus is honored as a creature who punishes those who lose their holiday spirit, which is exactly why the little kid messed up by ripping up his letter to Santa and throwing it out the window. He asked for it. Now, Krampus isn't just a physical threat, but a supernatural entity that thrives on despair and holiday mischief. So if you lose your holiday cheer, bro is sliding and causing fear. It's no question. It's just how it works. The other problem is no amount of fight back against Krampus seems to work. Once you're on his little list, you're done for. So my advice, don't lose your holiday cheer, or bro is gonna slide and cause some fear. I really like that one. That was really good. That was on the spot too. Silent Night, Deadly Night. The movie premises around our main character, Billy, who witnesses his parents murdered by a man in a Santa suit. Billy then grows up extremely traumatized, and he eventually snaps, throwing on a Santa suit and going on a murderous rampage. Now I get it, bro watched his parents get packed up, I completely understand, but to dress up as Santa Claus and axe people to death? Bro, that's cold. And how he's targeting his victims? Well, if you're naughty, you're done. He strictly goes after people who he deems to be naughty. Billy is also extremely methodical and completely merciless, using, of course, the Santa suit to get close to his victims. Because during the holiday season, of course, you're walking down the street, you see Santa, you say, hey, what's up, Santa? You don't say, oh no, don't axe me. You don't know. And the strongest thing about him is his personal vendetta, which more or less makes him unstoppable, especially if you've been naughty. Now look, I already know a lot of you in the comments about to say, Chris, I'm not getting packed up by no one wearing a Santa suit. Just wait for this next one. Jack Frost. The movie premises around a serial killer who was recently executed. His soul then merges with the snowman, turning him into a murderous snowman. I know what you're saying, and I know that you're laughing right now, but bro is actually gruesome as hell. Now yes, I know getting packed up by a snowman was not on your 2024 bingo card, but hear me out. Now the snowman doesn't even have to use weapons. He uses his ice abilities to kill his victims in extremely gruesome ways. He is not your average Frosty the Snowman with his corncob pipe and his button nose, no two eyes made out of coal. Yeah, that's not him. That is not him. And fighting a snowman is of course nearly impossible because weapons can't do any damage. Now of course, I already know what you guys are gonna say, Chris, I would get the blow dryer and blow dry him until he melts away. Now look, I thought of that too, but it's so cold outside, so even if he melts, he can then refreeze, making him virtually indestructible. Now of course, if it was summertime, you would be perfectly fine because you don't have to worry about a snowman. We're talking about Christmas time, and I'm not gonna lie to you, we are all getting packed up by Jack Frost, the mean ones. The movie premises around the Grinch. Well, technically the Grinch, terrorizing of course a small town, which we all know as Whoville. But technically the movie is a parody, so it can't actually be named Whoville, and he can't be named the Grinch, but he's the Grinch. He's also played by the same actor that plays Art the Clown, which right there for you should make it seem that he is way more devious than you may think. Yes, he's green, yes, he's furry. But as we know, the Grinch is a grouch, and if he could have packed all the people up in Whoville, he would have done that. Now look, the Grinch's mysterious strength and relentless attacks almost make it impossible for you to survive. Now all I'm saying is I don't want to personally fight the Grinch one-on-one, especially the mean one's version of the Grinch. He's a lot more mean, he used weapons, technically it is a low-budget horror movie parody, but all in all, the Grinch character in this movie is played by Art the Clown. So just imagine, take what you know from Art the Clown, put it into the Grinch, watch the movie, and then type back and let me know what you guys think. Because I'm telling you right now, it's not a fight you're gonna win. ATM. Movie premises around coworkers who are trapped inside of an ATM booth, as a hooded killer during Christmas time is sitting there waiting for them to leave. Look, bro's camping. We all know bro is camping, but we also have Josh Peck in this movie. You know, from Drake and Josh, which was the only reason I ended up ever watching this movie. Now look, the isolating setting in this movie, the killer's insane patience, make surviving this movie nearly impossible. We see the killer go to absolutely insane lengths in this movie to try and kill them inside of where they're at because they're too scared to go outside. Now look, for me personally, it sounds like a 3-on-1, and I like those odds. Bro doesn't show any weapons at first, he doesn't show anything. We're just gonna rush him or come out and go left. But I guess when you're in that situation, it's a little bit different. You have to try to make the right decision. All in all, bro is a camper. If you're at the ATM, you know, taking out a little cash, whatever, and all of a sudden you turn around and there's a guy standing next to his truck wearing a hood, you can't see him at all, it's so dark, there's barely any lights. It's during Christmas time, and every time you try to get close to the door, bro takes a step, you're not surviving, I don't care what you say. The Gingerbread Man. Movie premises around a killer's soul who is baked inside of a gingerbread cookie. That of course then comes to life and starts killing. Now this is one of those Chucky moments where a serial killer dies and their body is now infused with something. Chucky was a doll, this guy's a gingerbread man. Now that wouldn't be my first choice, but I'm gonna let him rock. And yes, this movie is stupid, but the reason that it would be almost impossible for you to survive is because you would not think that a cookie could be a killer, or technically fighting a baked good. Imagine you're at a Christmas party and you see a bunch of gingerbread men. I love to eat gingerbread men. You go to pick it up and that thing just stabs you in your jugular. You had no idea. It's one of those movies that completely catches you off guard, especially with that character. Now, for me, I'd probably try to eat him if I'm being so for real, but I would probably end up dead. Better watch out. Movie premises are on a babysitter fending off the home from intruders. He then discovers the threat is closer than she thinks, as the boys she's watching reveal their shocking and sinister plan. Now, look, I watched this movie for the first time last year, and I'm gonna be honest, the plot twist got me. I had no idea what was going on until that plot twist happened. Then I was like, oh shit, what is going on? Simplest reason you're not surviving this movie is one thing. If you're babysitting kids, you would not think that they would be trying to kill you, because that's exactly what's happening in the movie. Your downfall is trust. Parents go out to a Christmas party, they're like, hey, can you come over and watch our kids? Sure. You walk in the door, you make some cookies, all of a sudden you fall asleep and wake up and you're tied up. One of the coolest things in this movie is they actually use some scenes from Home Alone, like with some of the creative kills, and it was pretty awesome. But all in all, surviving this movie is nearly impossible because you're not gonna suspect kids be the ones trying to kill you. Finally, you have P2. Movie premises around a young woman working late on Christmas Eve, becomes trapped inside of her office building's parking garage, where a security guard is trying to hunt her down. This movie's one of those cat and mouse movies. You're trapped inside of a parking garage, you're being hunted by someone who has weapons, and you never know where they are. The movie, of course, explores themes of obsession and survival, with the terrible, uncomfortable feeling. I know I'm not the only one who's parked my car in a garage, got out late from somewhere, thought that someone was following me. Now imagine if that were true. How scared would you be? The movie's atmosphere itself is absolutely terrifying. 9 times out of 10, if you're at a parking garage, you have no idea that you're actually being stalked. But once you do, what's your first play? Mine, personally, would probably be to get in my car and lock the doors. Then again, how much help is that? You have no weapons, no way of figuring out how to get out. Honestly, I would just jump. How high could you be up? In my opinion, that's probably the only questionable survival-based one that you could actually try to survive. Or you can just try to overpower the security guard, but bro has weapons. So that about wraps up the video. In my opinion, those are some horror movies where you have zero chance of surviving. From ghoulish creatures in Silent Hill, to nightmare demons like Freddy Krueger, and even best friend killers like Scream. In my opinion, there is no humanly possible way any of you are surviving. But I know some of you are going to comment that you're built different and you're going to be able to survive. So if you guys would like a part 2, comment that down below right now. Hopefully you guys did go and enjoy today's video, and if you did, don't forget to smack a like on it. That'd be greatly appreciated. Comment down below what else you guys want to see on the channel, and with all of that being said, guys, my name is Chris, and of course, I will catch you guys on the next one.